Okay, this is now the 5-minute tarot for the 25th of March 2017. And I'm smiling and laughing because I'm going to tell you a joke at the end. And it's quite funny, at least I enjoy it anyway. Okay, so 25th of March, the astrology site is ready. And the URL is www.astrology-in-action.org. It's .org, not .com. I set it up, well, I've had the site for a long time, but the content was uploaded yesterday. And it's very plain and simple, but what's important is the content that you might enjoy there, and I'll add more later because I've got a second set of 9 videos that takes you to a next step, let's say, or the next stage of being able to read a natal chart. Okay. Excuse me. So today's card is Temperance, and so I didn't want to, when I saw the card, I thought I don't want to talk about temperance. I don't want to just say the same things that I've said before. So I thought I have to come up with something new, or I have to say something different. So if you look at the cups, I looked up the meaning of the word, and it comes from a root that means to get things in correct proportion. And if you look at the 2 cups that the angel or the archangel is holding, you can see the motion back and forth. So I think it's not bad for when the Temperance card comes up. It's important for the reader to think about and maybe to ask the questioner, do you have things in the right proportion? So if it's a question about a relationship and the Temperance card comes up, maybe you, the questioner, are doing lots for the other person, but have you got the proportion right? Are you doing things for yourself as well? Because you're supposed to, relationships aren't just about giving, but they're about receiving too. And so you can be doing all the giving and getting nothing back, or not getting enough back, or not insisting that you also have things that you want to do. And you have to be able to do them if there's going to be a proper proportion, a proper relationship between you and the other person. So by all means do for other people, but also do for yourself. And so let's say the question's about a relationship, think about what's going on and make sure things are in their correct proportion. I'm thinking of cooking and baking, actually, because I used to make dough, flour. So I've got flour and water and yeast and oil and salt, and you mix them all together. But then you had to sort of take some dough in your hand and feel it, and you knew from feeling it if you needed more water or more flour or whatever it happened to be. And that's a bit like sensing or knowing when the proportions are right. And in a related kind of a way, it's some kind of angel or archangel in the card. And I'm not that interested in angels, although some people are. It's just that they don't really appeal to me that much. But we're told that in the Bible that man is greater than the angels, which is odd. Excuse me, it's odd when you think of it, because we tend to think the angels are better than us, or they're a higher power, or they're more knowledgeable or more powerful or more pure, whatever it happens to be. But we're told that it's as if we have the idea that angels are better than we are. But if we're greater than the angels, then if the Temperance card comes up, we should make sure that we have a correct vision of ourselves and our abilities and conditions. Because we can think that we're not that good, but actually we're an awful lot better than we think we are, or we're a lot better than we give ourselves credit for. And that could be the point, to come up with a correct estimation of, let's say, your strengths and weaknesses, but your strengths. And this can be important let's say in moments of reflection, if you're on your own and just sort of thinking things through, or wondering about ourselves, at times like that, it's important to have a correct estimation. In a question, though, we can have, the questioner can have the idea that somebody else involved in the answer is better than they are, or that a manager is more qualified just because he's a manager, even though he's not that bright. So with the Temperance card in a question about, let's say, a work relationship or a work situation or promotion, make sure that the questioner appreciates what they actually have and what they're good at. And when they think about other people, don't immediately think that they're better than you are, that they're more qualified, or that they'll do the job better. And Temperance reverse can be somebody who thinks that they're totally skilled, even though they've never done something before. It's a kind of opposite extreme. So with the Temperance card, do you have the right proportion when it comes to other people? And the joke or the story is, there's this Scottish comedian, singer, actor, Billy Connolly, that you may have heard of. And he used to work when he was young, a teenager, I think. He worked in, Govan shipyards. So he was a labourer and carried stuff around and so on, had a wheelbarrow and carried stuff from point A to point B. But in the shipyard, people would sometimes fall asleep, or they would have a little rest during their shift. And the workers wore white plastic hats, and the managers wore black plastic hats. So you could look at a group of them and know who was the manager. And one day, Billy Connolly told a story about how one day he was asleep, and a manager came along and kicked him to wake him. And Billy Connolly looked up at him and said, yeah, what do you want? And the manager said, because he was wearing a black hat, and Billy Connolly knew this, so the manager said to him, do you know who I am? And Billy Connolly said to the fellow he was working with, or who was beside him, he said, hey, Jimmy, here's somebody who doesn't know who he is. Which, if you've ever worked in some kind of labouring job and people wore white hats and black hats, I think that's very funny. I hope you do too. Tomorrow will be another card. Thanks for watching. I'm off to have a quiet laugh about Billy Connolly. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.